Chaudhary Devilal. He was not a person, but he was a great thought. Chaudhary Devilal brought a revolutionary and historical visionary change. His thought, his vision, his contribution for villagers, downtrodden, dejected people of our society. Today, developed India for on the path of Chaudhry Devilal by the guidance of Chaudhry Devilan. He was kingmaker. They salute such a greatest humanitarian. I got my education from political education vision in the respect of by the guidance or supervision of Chaudhry Devilal University. I was not his relative, there was no association with such personality, but he bestowed. When I first time saw Chaudhry Devilal, physically he was the greatest warrior. By his actions, he was par excellence, surpassed, excelled all the worldly leaders. He was generator, creator, and starter in the field of politics. Today, Vice President feels proud while keeping him in mind and action in the root of all the developments. Not only it is the contribution of his name, but completely, totally he bestowed, devoted, dedicated himself for the welfare of society and nation. Vice President says, claims, inclines that is always ready to contribute himself for him. Today it is very nice time, historical time at the convocation. A convocation is a milestone, it is a landmark. Always remember in Dikshan Smaroh, it's not sections. I want to make you remember what is the condition of India today in the world. In improving our economy, how India has grown. It is unimaginative. It is miraculous. All the worldly people are astonished and surprised. How our economy was with full of up and downs, now it has become stable. How it has got fifth position. English people overruled on us for a long time. Now we have surpassed, excelled in the world. India will become India will become third largest economy as Japan and Germany. Today, ours, ladies and gentlemen, for sisters and brothers, there are limitless opportunities. They can fulfill their expectations. Today, the thought of our youngsters is deeper than ocean, higher than the sky, extensive than the land. How India's youngsters are jumping, climbing all over the world. Among all these achievements, there is the great contribution of the women. Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, a revolutionary step in the history of worldly people from Haryana. Contribution in the politics is determined one third availability presence in Lok Sabha in the legislature of Haryana. It was higher than 30. Women will got chance to be seat of governance to play critical role. This revolutionary step will become game changer. Today, I want to tell you, students and uh, children, those who belong to villages, village background. Lal Bahadur Shastri wrote, it was used to speak by Lal Bahadur Shastri, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. At that time, India was under crisis. Atal Bihari Vajpayee added Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan. Today, our President Prime Minister Modi ji, one more step ahead. He added Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Anusandhan at this spice land of Haryana, the most energetic land of the world. It's the most energetic land of the world. Fighters come from Haryana, Haryana's land, the most richest. Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan, Jai Pahalwan. One more step is being added by our prestigious honorable personality. Where is the producer of the wheat or crop? Every farming family should think it should be the broad change in the economy of the villages. It is possible There is a great commerce of the production of the agricultural land. Why we don't have the participation in modern dairying, in micro and small industries? I would like to appeal you, don't keep limitations. Be fearless, don't have fear from the failures. Failures are the pillars of success. With the first step, nobody can get successful. Never feel bad, never have impurities. It is, if you feel failure, then it is a great illusion. You have great opportunities, possibilities for your future. Don't always keep higher thinking. I remember provide leave to the Indian farmers. It was a decision taken by him for keeping our farmers free from loan. If India will become free from the economic burden, now it is the golden time. Our students, scholars, youngsters can perform at the higher level. Now it is the time. Chaudhry Om Prakash is leveled 30 watt. Education brings equality. Education defines your ability will become higher. Education is the greatest transformative mechanism to bring about equality, cut into inequities. I would like to say in brief, I have a great association with this institution. I can never depart from this institution. I invite the students of this institute in groups to be my guest in Indian Parliament. Along with all faculties, I'll lunch with them. I expect I will get the chance to receive every student of this institution by the contribution of Abhay Sutala. They are saying two words. He made me astonished. How has he expressed? I was the friend of Chaudhry Devilal. I can never be, I can not deserve for being the friend of Chaudhry Devilal. Your saying is enough. I'll come in Swami Keshwanand Institute. I make you remember. How did you say me to come here? When did you call me? I came here within hours, not in days. I'll do everything ensure growth of the institutions, contribute in any manner I can. I congratulate I congratulate the gold medalists. I congratulate parents, those who are graduating, teachers, to say finally, dear students, respect your elders, respect your teachers, respect your parents, believe in your civic duties, the duties before nurture involvement. Happy, be happy. May God bless you. Good wishes. Honorable public person. Chaudhry Abhay Singh Chautala, Chaudhry Abhay Singh Chautala, Chaudhry Abhay Singh Trust, Shrimati Kanta Chautala. I'm so happy and delighted, Kantaji, you are fully involved. Shri Arjan Singh Chautala, Professor Sampath Singh, a person whom I know and admire for decades, one of the closest associates of I have decades to efficiency and dedication. Dr. Jay Prakash, Director General of the Shri Vidyapith, distinguished members of the faculty, official staff, and I am here for my dear students. And let me tell you, dear students, those who are in the last benches, there were no back benches here, only they sit on the back benches. Migrating to those and It is an absolute privilege and honor to impart convocation address situation that bears the name it does. The last century, I had not seen stalwarts actually tailor, and I shall keep the recognition time for us, which I will do the same, will show the nation. We're Indian, भारतीय हैं, भारतीय हमारी पहचान है, राष्ट्र धर्म सर्वोपरि है. We always put nation first. We personal and political interest are insignificant. A convocation address not easy to deliver because students suspect something amazing daily. I must for them my first sermon in this gold medalist. I was under fear, said, therefore not be obsessed. Like a river, not like a canal. Parents thought like their minions. It is their blue community. As long as Bharat. Per capita per capita internet income US China taken together over digital transactions boys and girls hold your breath. Digital transactions for time UK, France and Germany. If we examine our economy that is very fragile and decade ago, when I with the blessings chose the parliament and became minister with his blessings. What is the economic situation? You are lucky to be living in times, but it's not a possibility. There is an ecosystem lies your ambitions and aspirations not to face your evils now. That is the scenario. You must never be distressed and under tension. And fear of failures is like a myth. There is nothing like failures. It is an attempt that not succeeded. And people may be pessimistic. I was in the science city. Boys and girls faced I remember 2007 Chandrayaan from the close surface but could not test. It was according to me 90% success. That is why Chandrayaan 3 became success and therefore failure is a myth. Failure gives opportunity to improve further. Any completions in the history not succeeded in the first attempt. But Joe, if you have no surprise, no idea, that will the greatest experiment. Look at what has happened. Unicorns. What unicorn dimensions define. Therefore, never fear, never have tension, never stress. Go for experimentation. Go as per enough to contribute for your nation. Any national unity in the medium is in front of the opportunities. And those opportunities today are available as we space, sky space. You only have to think big, take a deep. A convocation is not the end of education. Education means always learning. I was so happy when Arjun quoted a philosopher, let me quote another, Aristotle, Heraclitus. Heraclitus often quoted, the only absolute life in the change. Change is this. Right now, change. Change is much beyond blockchain, machine learning, and every moment like shift, every moment change increase huge challenges, and every challenge opportunity. And Shafi Translation invite boys and girls in this issue to be my guest in the Indian Parliament during these coming years. Will come in the new Parliament building. thou overseest us. Rural landscape. Never ignore my best wishes to this great occasion. You have good opportunities, but if you get a setback, don't be startled. A setback is natural, and occasional failure only improves you. I take the opportunity again renew my invitation. My invitation is I will work now. You are listening what is happening around the world. Today it is the wonderful opportunity that our most honorable Vice President of India visited our India's Holyland Shirsha and addressed from this land to the worldly people for the welfare of our society and nation in the field of education. Students motivated, inspired personally, professionally, educationally, intellectually, emotionally, and even spiritually. It is the great contribution of our today's rulers, those who have sacrificed their personal life for the welfare of humanity. So, words, thoughts, and ideas of our present Vice President of India is really praiseworthy, admirable, and appreciable. All the worldly people are listening today from this holy land, Sirsa. Sirsa is known by the starters, beginners, initiators, creators, generators, operators in the fields of science to spirituality, language to literature, medically, non medically, commercially, artistically. Wonderful contribution and records established by the Holy Land in the field of sports and education. It is the great contribution of Chaudhry Devilal. He was not only a person, but he was one of the greatest founders, starters after independence, who brought revolutionary, visionary, historical change. Thereby, today our youngsters are going ahead in the multi fields. And the day is not away when our country, when our India will become explorer, exporter, and exporter, when it will complete 2047 by the great guidance, supervision, instructions, directions of our present Prime Minister Modi ji. Indian land basically is known as the land of free thinkers, freedom fighters, astronomers, astrologers, the personalities, those who sacrificed their whole life in the search of, in seeking the truth. So these efforts are really recordable. Today we read in the history their name, fame, and their actions all are recorded in the history. Such personalities, whether they are not with us today, but their actions are not confined anywhere because their actions make us remember, make us able to call in the unlimited words. So let us contribute our potential, our dynamic energy in improving our society, in improving our habits. So our the most honorable Vice President of India addressed by saying very valuable words, precious words. He addressed, appealed to the worldly people by saying that our forefathers like Chaudhry Devilal Chutala, he was not only known by his name but by his actions. And Chaudhry Devilal is the name of thought or thinking, not the name of any physical body, because this human body, physical body, is non-mortal in all the literatures, all kind of different changes, but word remains forever. Word never, word can never be abolished. It can never be, word can never be perishable, and word can never be mortalized. Our thoughts, our ideas, our actions are forever, permanent, like history gives us the way. Our past gives us the way. First Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he addressed in his philosophy that our present lies in the past, and our Indian Holyland is known by the starters, beginners, initiators, creators, generators. All the spiritual starters came in India. It is really praiseworthy, admirable, and our all personalities wrote their contribution. They wrote their contribution in the presence of nature. How nature nurtures us. Nature nurtures us like a mother. Nature teaches us like a teacher. Nature treats us like a doctor. Nature plays multi-dimensional, multi-sided, multifaceted role all over the world. Our India is growing socially, economically, politically, personally, professionally all over the world. Economically, we are growing. Our youngsters today have become the greatest user, fastest user of digital India. All the digital works are being done by even illiterate people of our uneducated people of our society or villagers. That is really a great achievement. There is no discrimination on the basis of educated and uneducated. It happened by the efforts of our present Prime Minister Modi ji, and our youngsters are regularly, continually efforting for bringing revolutionary and visionary change in the different fields of agriculture, industry, communication, transportation, railways, post offices, and hospitals. Today we are becoming faster than others. All the Russia, China, Germany, Japan. We read in the history that after First World War, how both the countries, Germany and Italy, started re-emerged themselves by their technology. Undoubtedly, there was the wartime, but now it is the time of revolution in information technology. And definitely, our India has surpassed, excelled all the worldly people in the field of technology by using, by recording, downloading, saving on YouTube, social media, Facebook. We have become the greatest user of such technologies, and we are providing free data, cheapest data from the villagers. It is also a great achievement. Numberless achievements our India is growing in the field of manufacturing as well. You can read, you can observe this personally, closely, intimately in the field of defense and technology. Our India was importing numberless goods, but today it has become one of the greatest producer, one of the greatest manufacturer. Numberless startups India has started in the different fields today. There are great changes India is bringing today by the healthier modern mind of our youngsters. Undoubtedly, our youngsters' thoughts are really deeper than the ocean. Our youngsters' thought is really higher than the sky. Words fall short in praise of such personalities. Those who came on this holy land for addressing the message of oneness, equality, and unity. Swami Vivekananda, who addressed the worldly people, there is the presence of Lord or God even in lightless and soundless places. It is the great knowledge in the field of spirituality that India is providing to the worldly people. Earlier in past time, India was rich by its materialism. But today, past, present, and future, India will become the topper, starter, founder in futures. Definitely, it will bring its economy up and rise by our present rulers, those who have contributed, sacrificed their life for the welfare of our society and nation, for the welfare of our downtrodden, rejected people of our society. Who is hero? Who is brave? Who is warrior? Who is actor? A person who sacrificed themselves, a person who dedicate and devote themselves for the welfare, for the benefit of others. He is the real hero. He is the real heroine. He is the real actor or actress, and he is the real warrior in our history that is addressed by our holy land of this holy society. Dear friends, a great lesson our holy motherland addresses us daily. Let us be honest, son of this holy land, and contribute our participation as by the guidance of our living God inside the human body. Binder deal not dead, US says. Days after spat with Zelensky, Trump pauses aid to Ukraine. Ukraine says will do all to maintain ties with US. France condemns move aid to Ukraine. Overall, Europe allocated 132 billion euros of financial, military, and humanitarian aid since January 2022. The US gave 114 billion euros. Military US delivered or allocated over 64 billion euros in weapons, ammunition and other military assistance. Of that, just under 14 billion euros was for heavy weapons. Europe donated just under 62 billion euros in military allocations, of which 19 billion euros was for heavy weapons. US military allocations include critical weaponry like 45 overhauled T-72 and 31M1A2, Abrams tanks 352, Bradley vehicles 201, Howitzers 39 HIM ARS rocket launchers, 17 air defense systems such as NASAM, Patriot and Hawk batteries, Andrea Schlall and Max Hunder. From Washington says Ukraine said on Tuesday that it would do all it can to maintain its ties with the United States after President Donald Trump paused military aid to Kyiv in the most dramatic step yet in his pivot towards closer ties with Russia. Trump has upended U.S. policy on Ukraine and Russia, culminating in an explosive confrontation at the White House in Friday when Trump upbraided President Volodymyr Zelensky for being insufficient grateful for Washington's backing. President Trump has been clear that is focused on peace. We need our partners to be committed to that goal as well. We are pausing and reviewing our aid to ensure that it contributing to a solution, a US official said on Monday. World needs reliable partner. Our industry cannot remain mere spectators, says PM Modi. From New Delhi at a time when the world is looking for a reliable partner for high quality products with a dependable supply chain, the Indian industry must find a role for itself and carve out opportunities and not remain a mere spectator, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Tuesday addressing a post-budget webinar. Modi assured the industry of the government's support, saying that it stands shoulder to shoulder at a time when the world views India as a key growth center. Today, the world needs a reliable partner from where high quality products come out and the supply is reliable. Our country is capable of doing this. All of you are capable. This is a huge opportunity for us. I want our industry, not to see these expectations as a spectator. We cannot remain spectators. You have to find your role in this. You have to move ahead and carve out opportunities for yourself, the Prime Minister said. It is much easier today than it was earlier. Today, the country has friendly policies to take advantage of these opportunities. Today, the government stands shoulder to shoulder with the industry, Modi said, adding that if the industry scouts for opportunities in the global supply chain with a firm resolve and objectivity, accepts the challenge, and moves forward one step ahead at a time, India can go miles ahead. The Prime Minister assured the country's manufacturing and export sectors that the government will continue on the path of reform and consistency, which over the past 10 years has brought new confidence in our industry. In the last 10 years, India has shown its commitment towards reforms, financial discipline, transparency, and inclusive growth. I assure every stakeholder associated with manufacturing and export that this continuity will remain the same in the coming years. With all my faith, I urge you to move ahead with full confidence and take big steps. We should open new avenues for manufacturing and export, Modi said, listing various steps by the government towards having a stable policy and business environment in India. When a goalkeeper waiting in the wings met a war veteran and found his hero. From Mumbai, 2 years ago, national hockey goalkeeper Suraj Karkera, an avid reader, chanced upon chanced upon the memory of India's 1971 war hero, Major General Lan Cardozo. Even before Karkera had turned the final page of the book, he had tracked down the war veteran. Since then, the 29-year-old Karkera and the 87-year-old Cardozo have formed a lifelong bond. The series of conversations with Cardozo kept Carkera, who was then going through one of the most challenging phases of his nascent career, motivated to fight for a permanent spot in India's hockey team, which he finally earned last year after spending almost 8 years on the fingers, 8 years on the fringes. For Cardozo, who had to amputate his own leg on the battlefield during the 1971 India-Pakistan war meeting, Karkera was a chance to reconnect with the support he had grown up playing. Until 2 years ago, we didn't know each other at all. Cardozo tells the Indian Express now we have adopted him as our protege. Says Karkera, when I reached out to him, my mental space was like I would like to have the spark again. Of course, I was staring at this and that, but you tend to be a bit distracted. What will happen in the future and such? Karkara's concerns about his future were not unfounded, despite being a constant in the core group of the national hockey team for a better part of the last decade. The goalkeeper was third in the pecking order behind the modern day great PR Sarijesh and Kishan Pathak, with only two spots reserved for goalkeepers in a squad of 18 for international competitions and just one in the 16-member Olympics team. Karkira was invariably left out for big assignments. The only time he got uninterrupted chances to play for the national team was in 2017 to 18 when Srijesh, the first choice keeper, was out with an injury. Karkera, spotted by Marbjan Patel, the legendary coach from Mumbai and later mentored by former India custodian Deepika Murthy, patiently waited for his turn, aware that it was routine for goalkeepers to go through this grind. His chance finally came after Sharijesh retired at the end of the Paris Olympics. In the last 5 months, he has played 17 matches, nearly as many as he did in the 5 years before that. Before that, 19, and has featured in every game of the recently concluded India leg of the FIH Pro League. It shows your character, what you are going to do when things are not going your way. Karkara says of the long awaiting period, these are testing times. You need patience and resilience. During this phase, as he discovered the world of books, Carcera immersed himself in the extraordinary tales of South Africa's 1995 Rugby World Cup triumph, but it was in Cardozo's life story, Cardo Sap, a soldier's story of vigilance in adversity, that he found the inspiration he needed. Mas General Cardozo fought three wars: 1962, 1965, and most notably the Indo-Pak War of 1971 that led to the creation of Bangladesh. In the final days of the war, during the Battle of Sylhet, Cardozo stepped on a landmine and had to amputate his own leg with his kukri when he realized it could not be shaved. He then went on to become the first war disabled officer to be approved for command of an infantry battalion. Despite the years he separated that separated them, Carcara realized he had much in common with Cardozo. Like him, the retired Maj General was a Bombay boy and played hockey in his younger days. Besides, they were both army men. Carcara is a Naik Subedar. He then got in touch with Cardozo through Meghna Girish, mother of martyr Major Akshay Girish, who died during the 2016 terror attack on the army's Nagrota base, who put him in touch with Cardozo's wife Priscilla. He came to us as an absolute stranger. Priscilla says there are many such requests, so I don't say yes to everyone, but Suraj was down to earth, friendly and genuine, so both of us took to him. Carcara flew down to New Delhi, where Cardozo now lives, to meet him. Carcara calls him a man 100 years ahead of his time and spent hours listening at Cardozo's stories from the battlefield. It's goosebumps as he tried to understand how he coped with pressure situations which he thought he could put to practice on the hockey field. He has a certain perspective about things, black or white and no gray. So it helped me to refocus on reality rather than being distracted, Carcara says. Cardozo liked that Carcara wasn't arrogant and was prepared to learn. I told him that support is like war and you can go into a war unless you are prepared. So you have got to train very hard so you are the best. But training by yourself is not good enough. You need to understand what makes you win. Winning is important. It's all very well to say, play the game, play for the country. No, not. It's stupid if you play to lose. You have to play to win, Cardozo adds. I told him you need to be the best. If you are doing something in life, there is no point being the second best because in war there is no such thing. You are either a victor or you are defeated. But this doesn't mean you cheat. You have to follow certain ethics. Since their first meeting 2 years ago, they have remained in constant touch talking about hockey and life. Whenever I have a problem, I tell him, Kira says the Cardojo too have grown fond of him, rooting for him every time he steps on the field. We didn't know him who years ago. We didn't know him 2 years ago. Now we have a soft come for Suraj, says Priscilla. Union Bank of India hosts mega MSME outreach campaign Bathinda, a Government of India initiative. Union Bank of India organized a mega MSME micro, small and medium enterprises outreach camp at Hotel Sapphire Bathinda, bringing together branch heads, MSME entrepreneurs, customers, and key stakeholders. The initiative aligned with the Government of India vision to boost the growth and sustainability of the MSME sector by empowering businesses through financial support, knowledge sharing, and access to government schemes. The event aimed to create awareness among MSME entrepreneurs addressing business challenges, explore growth opportunities, and promote the utilization of various government backed schemes to accelerate business expansion. The outreach camp witnessed the participation of prominent MSME entrepreneurs, Union Bank officials, and local MSME representatives. The key focus was to highlight various government schemes under the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives designed to uplift small and medium businesses across the country. Mr. H.K. Das, General Manager, Rushu and F1, and Mr. Ashish Suwalka, Regional Head, Bathinda Union Bank of India addressed the gathering, emphasizing the pivotal role of MSMEs in driving India's economic growth, particularly in rural and semi-urban areas. Speaking at the event, Mr. Das said Union Bank of India is committed to empower the MSME sector by offering customized financial solutions that help business expand, modernize, and become more competitive in the global market. The event also included detailed presentations on government support schemes such as the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises and Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, aimed at providing accessible financial assistance to MSMEs. Interactive sessions facilitated discussions on key challenges faced by local businesses, including access to finance, digitalization, scaling operations, and how Union Bank's products and services can support their business journey. One of the local MSME customers expressed gratitude, stating, "This initiative by Union Bank has provided valuable insights and opportunities to enhance our business operations. It was a great platform to interact with experts, understand government schemes, and connect with fellow entrepreneurs." The Mega MSMEs outreach camp fostered stronger ties between Union Bank of India and the local business community, paving the way for future collaboration. The bank reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to the development of the MSME sector, recognizing its critical role in entrepreneurship, job creation, and economic growth in the region. Ameritex expands to create thousands of jobs for young Indians by 2027. Ameritex, a leading retail brand with over 4 decades of legacy, has announced an ambitious expansion plan to open 100 new stores across India by 2027, generating thousands of jobs, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. This initiative aims to boost employment, strengthen local economies, and provide affordable quality products to consumers. India's youth has immense potential and we must create opportunities for them here at home, said Arun Grover, Chairman and MD Amartex. We are not just expanding our stores, we are opening doors to meaningful careers. By 2027, Amartex 100 store network will not only serve millions of customers but also play a crucial role in reducing unemployment and empowering young professionals. Aligned with Viksit Bharat Develop India, Amartex continues to support skilled and unskilled workers. helping drive economic progress while strengthening its market presence with focus on expansion, quality, and social impact. Amartex remains dedicated to making a meaningful difference in the lives of young Indians and the retail sector. 15 videos and 8 photos. Charge sheet gives detail of Sarpanch's torture before murder from Mumbai. Although, although pressure had been mounting on NCP leader Dhananjay to resign, it reached the tipping point as videos and photographs of the torture inflicted on beat Sarpanch Santosh Deshmukh before his murder emerged, leading to public queries. A set of 15 videos and 8 photographs have been attached to the charge sheets filed by the CID Special Investigation Team led by DIG Dr. Bashwaraj Teli against 8 accused including Mundesh close aide Valmiki Karad, who has been named as the chief conspirator. The charge sheet contains brief descriptions of the videos and photographs that were taken by the accused while allegedly executing the crime on December 9. The videos were meant to intimidate anyone who resisted their attempts to extort money from local industries as Deshmukh had, according to police, according to the charge sheet. 2 days before the murder, Karat had asked arrested accused Sudarshan Gule to take care of Deshmukh. 3 months after Ed named in murder of Sarpanch Dhananjay Munde steps down from Mumbai. NCP Minister Dhanraj Munde resigned Tuesday after leaked photos showing allegedly the atrocities and torture inflicted on a beat Sarpanch before his murder proved the tipping point. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis drove down to hold a late night meeting Monday with Deputy Chief Minister and NCP President Ajit Pawar, where the decision was taken in the presence of Monday. Monday also Monday Monday also marked the start of the first budget session of the new Mahayuti government elected in November last year. Monday's close association with one of the accused in Mass Jog Sarpanch Santosh Deshmukh's murder, who was charge sheeted just days earlier, was sure to come up in the House along with the conviction of another NCP minister, Manikaro Kokata, in an old case. The resignation of Munde will take some of the heat of the Fadnavis government, which has also been under pressure from within for the minister's dismissal to ensure an impartial probe into the murder on December 9 last year. The CID charge sheet naming Munde at Valmiki Karat, among others, was filed on February 27. Karat stands accused of trying to extort money from a power company, leading allegedly to an altercation with Deshmukh and his murder. SKM Farmers Farm says will go ahead with protest in Chandigarh. SKM says 200 farmer leaders detained. Man says they are trying to run parallel government from Ludhiana ahead of their planned week-long protest in Chandigarh. Beginning March 5, several Samyukta Kisan Morcha leaders were detained in midnight and early morning raids at their residence Tuesday, even as Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann denounced the agitating farmer union, saying that they have turned Punjab into a state of dharnas and trying to run a parallel government by promising to resolve issues of villagers. Augusta Westland VVIP chopper case. Delhi High Court grants bail to Michael in custody in custody for close to maximum term. News from New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday granted bail to Christian Michael James, one of the alleged middlemen in the Augusta Westland VVIP chopper case, who was extradited from the UAE in 2018 in a money laundering case registered by the Enforcement Directorate. In 22 years, successive Himachal government diverted 10,926 hectare forest land from Shimla. Now news from the field of sports. Smith and Carey show Oshido show how to bat on the Dubai surface as Varun Chakravarti's threat was largely negated. From Dubai, for the first time in this Champions Trophy, one could see India under pressure. In each of their three outings before the semi-final, they have been precise in their planning and the execution in the middle has been mostly foolproof. But on Tuesday, for a large part of the afternoon, Steve Smith and Alex Carey would keep Rohit Sharma and India under the pump with some quality batting in yet another testing environment. The two put together only at 54 runs, 10 of just 58 deliveries, but with scores of 73 and 61 respectively, powered Australia to 264, the highest total made till in the Dubai leg. For the fourth straight match here, a new surface was put to use, though India have by now got familiar with conditions here. Pitch number 6 that they used for the semi-final seemed to have showed a few doubts in them. While the square has remained dry throughout, out of all the 9 pitches, this was one of that had some presence of live grass. After their match against New Zealand, Rohit said they were not even aware which pitch they would be playing on Tuesday. When they came here in the afternoon, he would spend more time than he usually does inspecting the pitch. Maybe the idea was to just bluff the Ashish, but Harshit Rana would go on a warm up lap in the company of Shubman Gill and Hardik Pandey. As India lost the 14th straight toss in ODIs and Smith opted to bat first, though he claimed that this was a good one to lose as they were unsure what was the preferable course of action. For a change, India were in unfamiliar territory as to what to expect. They didn't waste any time in dismissing Cooper Connolly, which brought Smith to the middle. From there on, Australia would go about pushing India on the back foot before coming here. They had played just one completed match in Pakistan and had just a couple of net sessions, but they seem to have done their homework as they went in search of boundaries in the first power play with Travis Head providing a typical quick fire start at the top while riding on his luck as usual. Double Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar gets bail in murder case from New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday granted bail to double Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar in the wrestler Sahil Dhankar murder case. Dhankar, who competed in the 97 kilogram Greco-Roman category, was beaten to death in a clash involving two groups at Chhatr Stadium, Chhatr Stadium on May 4, 2021. Sushil's name cropped up when a video of the incident emerged which purportedly featured him. He was arrested after the court issued a lookout notice against him when the wrestler went on the run. A trial court had refused to grant him bail on July 22, 2024, and Justice Sanjeev Narula's decision on Tuesday comes after Sushil had been incarcerated for more than 3 years. Police have accused Sushil of plotting this conspiracy by calling his associates from Delhi and Haryana with firearms to the stadium. A Delhi court in October 2022 had framed murder charges against Sushil and 17 others in connection with the killing of 27-year-old Dhankar. The Session Court, in its order, had said that there was a strong case of murder and attempt to murder in this case after a conjoint reading of witness statements, along with the location chart, medical evidence, and other proof mentioned in the charge sheet. The court also framed charges under the IPC Section 323, voluntarily causing hurt, 120B criminal conspiracy, 142 being a member of unlawful assembly, 148 rioting armed with a deadly weapons, and 149 every member of unlawful assembly guilt of offense committed in prosecution of common object. Arguing for bail, Sushil submitted that of the 222 witnesses, only 31 had been examined so far. A detailed order is awaited to be made public. After successful private landing on Moon, more missions to follow. News from New Delhi. An American private space company called Firefly Aerospace successfully landed its spacecraft on the Moon on Sunday, the first of several arrivals that the lunar surface is expecting this year. Firefly's Blue Ghost mission is the second time that a private space company has landed the moon after Intuitive Machines Odysseus spacecraft achieved this feat last year. NASA is currently facilitating a host of private missions to the moon as it tries to build a larger ecosystem of space transportation companies in anticipation of more frequent travels to the celestial body in the coming years. Probing the moon, the first rounds of the private space missions are carrying a variety of scientific instruments, mostly those of NASA, to further understanding of the moon's surface and its surroundings. Blue Ghost has taken 10 instruments that will test robotic drilling technology, carry out studies of the surface and subsurface characteristics, and explore dust mitigation methods. Among other things, these will be operation for roughly one lunar day or about 14 hours days. On March 14, the mission is hoping to capture high definition images of a solar eclipse on the moon, with the Earth slated to come between its satellite and the sun. The Blue Ghost mission does not have a rover to move around on the moon's surface, meaning that the payloads of deployed from the lander will remain static. The spacecraft has landed some 20 degrees north of the lunar equator on the side of the moon that always faces Earth. The site is known to have been hit by a large asteroid about 3 billion years ago. Commercial private operators. Firefly is the third private operator to have sent a moon mission under a special NASA program called Commercial Lunar Payload Services. More than a dozen space companies have been contacted by NASA so far to carry out scientific sorties to the moon, although NASA will likely be sending the majority of the payloads in these missions. The companies are free to take payloads of the other parties, such as universities, research institutions, private corporations, and even other countries. CLPS is aimed at expediting CLPS is aimed at expediting the exploration of the moon and building capacities in the private sector to undertake complex space missions. This is part of NASA's larger and more ambitious Artemis program that aims to establish a long-term human presence on the moon, exploit its natural resources, and use it as a base for further exploration of deep space. The first flight to moon under the CLPS initiative was launched in January last year with Astrobotic Technologies sending its Peregrine mission. The mission could not reach the moon due to technical problems. Initiative Machines Odyssey spacecraft, launched just a month later, became the first private mission to reach the moon. Although its landing was not perfect, the spacecraft was unable to slow down adequately before landing, and at least one of its landing legs broke on impact, but it still managed to stay upright and relayed data back to the control station. The first flight to moon under the CLP's initiative was launched in January last year with Astrobotic Technologies sending its Peregrine mission. The mission could not reach the moon due to technical problems. In Intuitive Machine Odysseus spacecraft launched just a month later became the first private mission to reach the moon, although its landing was not perfect. The spacecraft was unable to slow down adequately before landing, and at last one of its landing legs broke on impact, but it still managed to stay upright and relayed data back to the control station. Sunday's landing of the Black Ghost mission was almost flawless. which prompted Firefly Aerospace to claim that it had become the first private company to successfully land on the moon. The mission carried out to so far have been fairly straightforward, but future missions plan to have rovers and return modules as well. Heavy traffic to the moon, the entry of private operators ensures a greater frequency of trips to the moon and consequently the deployment of a larger number of scientific instruments. Even as Blue Ghost landed on Sunday, the next CLP's mission is already on its way with intuitive mission launching its Athens spacecraft on February 26. Athena is supposed to land at the relatively unexplored southern pole of the moon on March 6. A Japanese private mission is also on its way to the moon right now. India's agriculture exports. Mamta claims water fraud can two electors have identical epic numbers. Mamta claims water fraud can two electors have identical epic numbers. Why Olive Ridley came to Odisha nesting ground in larger numbers this year. From Bhubaneswar, Olive Ridley turtle returned to the Rushikulia rockery in Odisha's Ganjam district for a 10-day mass nesting event last month after having stayed away last year. Nearly 7 lakh olive ridleys laid eggs at the nesting ground between February 16 and February 25. The number of turtle was more than in 2023 when around 6.37 lakh laid eggs in the same stretch of the Odisha coast. Enjoy Marsh leave. People will decide when and where you resign. CM Man to Tahsildars. Revenue Department say processes to be placed under suspension. Unauthorized absence to result in break of service. From Chandigarh, the Punjab government Tuesday reads the riot act to the protesting revenue officials, telling them they will stand suspended if they didn't join their duties. Even as Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann said that they can enjoy their mass leave and the government will appoint their replacement so that the people do not suffer. The order came a day after Tahsildars across the state on a call by the Punjab Revenue Official Association proceeded on mass casual leave suspending properly registration work till March 7. They are protesting against the Vigilance Bureau action against some revenue officials in Ludhiana in a fraudulent land deal and have claimed that such actions are creating an atmosphere of fear. CM said that the Tahsildar are protesting in favor of their corrupt colleagues, but our government has zero tolerance against corruption. To prevent inconvenience to the public, other Tahsil officers are being given the responsibility of all Tahsil work. Tahsildars can enjoy their mass casual leave, however, people will decide when and where you resign after this holiday, said Man in a post on X. Speaking to reporters at Kharad Tahsil office in Mohali, where he paid a surprise visit, Man said the protesting revenue officers should not remain under an impression that they could blackmail the government by suspending the work if they do not join back their duties. We will appoint new officers, he said, adding that an approval for recruiting new revenue officers will be given in the next cabinet meeting. The CM also told reporters that Punjab was fast becoming a state of dharnas, but as the custodian of 3.5 crore people, he has to watch the interest of each one of them and not just one set of people. Man ordered the Financial Commissioner Revenue to appoint officers in place of the protesting Tahsildars and Naib Tahsildars. Later, in an order, the state government appointed all the PCS officers, Kanugos, and senior assistant posted in revenue offices as sub registrars for property registration work. Meanwhile, the additional chief secretary revenue issued a communication to all revenue officers stating that it has come to the notice of the government that some revenue officers have gone on mass leave and are not registering documents. This amounts to blackmailing and arm twisting which cannot be tolerated by the government. All the revenue officers who are on strike, mass or leave are not registering documents are hereby directed to join their duties by 5 p.m. today, Tuesday. Revenue officers who do not join their duties and start performing all their duties, including registration of documents, shall be placed under suspension and their unauthorized absence from duty shall be treated as dies, none which will result in break of service, read the communication. In addition, strict disciplinary action under the Punjab Civil Service Punishment and Appeal Rules 1970 will be taken against them. The order said those officers who are under probation, their services are liable to termination on account of this misconduct or non-performance of their duties. It further said. A circular issued by the Punjab Revenue Officers Association meanwhile alleged that a false narrative was being created about Tahsildars, putting their reputation at stake. The officers being proved by the Vigilance Bureau include Tapa Tahsildar Sukhcharan S. Chennai, who is also the president of the association. Chennai was arrested for graft in November. The Bureau has also booked Ludhiana West Sub-Registrar Jagshir Singh Sharan, while Ranjit Singh of Jagrao and Lakhvinder Singh of Dera Vyas Nanak have been suspended from service. Man has of late been acting tough on other issues as well. On Monday, he walked out of a farm leaders meeting when they insisted on going ahead with their plan for a march to Chandigarh on March 5 on the intervening night of Monday and Tuesday. Several farmers leaders were detained by the Punjab police. Man had taken a similar stand against Punjab civil service officers in January 2023, warning protesting officials on mass casual leave to join work or face consequences. In an order, the chief minister had stated that their strike should be declared illegal. In this, in his order to the chief secretary, Man had then said, "It has been brought to my notice that some officers are not attending duty in the garb of some strike. They are protesting against the strong action taken by the government against corrupt officers." In August 2023, the government had invoked the East Punjab Essential Services Maintenance Act (ESMA) in the wake of the calls for pen down strikes by revenue officials and staff at deputy commissioners' offices. Protest held at HPU against salary delay from Shimla. Government prerogative. High Court dismisses plea to reinstate IAMAs as buddy SP from Shimla. The Himachal Pradesh High Court has dismissed a plea seeking the reinstatement of IPS officer IAMA Afroz as Superintendent of Police SP of Badi in State Solan District. High-tech testing laboratories to be established across states Shandil from Shimla. Lok Sabha panel to submit findings on Master and Center informed High Court. Amritpal Singh Kesh from Chandigarh. The centre Tuesday informed the Punjab and Haryana High Court that the matter of Khadur Sahib MP Amritpal Singh's absence from the Lok Sabha has been considered by the panel set up by the Speaker on February 24, and its recommendations would be placed before Parliament on March 10. As the hearing on the plea filed by the jailed MP resumed before a division bench of Chief Justice Shield Nagu and Justice Sumit Goyal, the Additional Solicitor General of India, Satyapal Jain submitted that the committee had deliberated on the leave requests of five MPs, including the Varish Punjab, the leader. In a meeting on Monday, Jain said the committee has reviewed all applications and decided to submit its recommendations to Lok Sabha on the March 10, after which a final decision will be taken. It was on February 24 that Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla had set up a 15-member committee led by West Tripura MP Biplab Kumar Dev to examine leave applications submitted by MPs including Amritpal Singh. Jain further submitted that the proceedings of parliamentary committee would not be disclosed until they were tabled in parliament. In his petition, Amritpal Singh had sought permission to participate in parliamentary session, arguing that his extended absence infringes upon his constitutional rights and leaves his constituency without representation. He has also contended that an absence exceeding 60 days could lead to his seat being declared vacant, detained under the National Security Act. Amritpal Singh has been lodged on Dibrugarh Central Jail since April 2023. He said that he submitted a request to the LS Speaker on November 30 last year to attend the Parliament and was informed that he had been absent for 46 days. Russia in Trump's word, whether it leads to a lasting shift or a temporary reprieve, Trump's presidency Trump's presidency undoubtedly opened the doors that Moscow is eager to step through. Hollywood has long mirrored America's shifting political sentiment, with the annual Oscars often serving as a platform for their political expression. This year, however, those anticipating sharp criticism of Donald Trump would have been disappointed, much like Silicon Valley, where tech moguls where tech moguls have adjusted to the new political landscape. Hollywood too may be coming to terms with a conservative revolution reshaping America. The entire the entertainment industry, which once championed progressive causes and openly opposed Trump, is now displaying signs of pragmatic accommodation. What stood out even more was the triumph of Anora, a Russian themed film that walked away with five Oscars, including Best Picture. The nomination of Russian actor Yura Borisov for Best Supporting Actor, although he did not win, sparked considerable excitement in Moscow, reinforcing the Kremlin's evolving optimism towards Trump's presidency. Over the past few years, Russia allies have decried what they saw as a Western attempt to cancel Russian culture, particularly in the wake of Moscow's 2023 invasion of Ukraine. The recognition of Borisov's acting skills provided a much needed reassurance that Russian cultural influence still carries weight in the West. After all, few in the world remained indifferent to Hollywood's nod of approval. This shift in cultural perception dovetails with Trump's evolving stance on Russia. His rhetoric and actions on Ukraine, NATO, and Europe have been music to President Vladimir Putin's ears. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who for years reveled in lambasting the West, has now begun speaking of Trump as a pragmatist. Lavrov even praised Trump's policy of common sense, which he argued opens the door to constructive engagement between Washington and Moscow. Trump's openness to Russia was underscored by his recent public appreciation of Moscow's role in World War II and historic US-Russia cooperation in making the post-war world. This sentiment, expressed after a phone call with Putin 6 weeks ago, is rarely heard from American political leaders. It signals a stark departure from the entrenched hostility that has characterized US policy toward Russia in recent years. Trump has moved swiftly to engage Russia, despite opposition from Washington's foreign policy establishment. Two rounds of high level talks between US and Russia officials have already taken place in Riyadh and Istanbul. Both sides are exploring ways to restore their embassies to full operational capacity, initiate new confidence building measures, and find common ground in ending the war in Ukraine. Trump has also Trump has also floated the idea of lifting the sweeping sanction imposed on Russia over the past 3 years. He has also proposed bringing Moscow back into the G7, a stark reversal from previous efforts to isolate Russia on the world stage. Trump has expressed his intention to visit Russia and host Putin in the US, and reports from Washington say preparations are on for an early summit between the two leaders. Trump's commitment to improving US Russia ties is not a mere political maneuver, it is a long held conviction. Throughout his political career, he has challenged Washington's bipartisan consensus on treating Russia as a hostile power, even in the face of relentless efforts by the US establishment to end the career of any other American politician. Trump has remained steadfast. His first term attempts at reconciliation with Moscow were largely stymied by institutional pushback, but now, armed with a stronger political mandate and full control over his administration, he is determined to follow through. It is worth asking, why has Trump remained unscathed by the accusations of being Putin puppet when such allegations would have been politically devastating for others? The answer lies in the unwavering support of his political base. Trump's MAGA movement has consistently dismissed these allegations as the Russia hoax. More crucially, MAGA represents a deeply anti-war constituency that opposes U.S. involvement in the Ukraine conflict. It also categorically rejects the foreign policy elites' globalist vision that demands America shoulder the burden of maintaining the international order within Washington's strategic circles. There are different interpretations of Trump's Russia policy. Some see it as an attempt to derive a wedge between Moscow and Beijing, a strategy often described as a reverse Nixon Kissinger maneuver in 1971. President Richard Nixon and his national security advisor Henry Kissinger reached out to China to counterbalance Soviet power. Today, some Trump advisors hope that warming ties with Russia could loosen its alignment with China. However, Trump's team appears realistic about the challenges of such a strategy. As Secretary of State Marco Rubio has admitted, Washington is unsure whether it can ever be successful completely at peeling them off a relationship with China. Nonetheless, Rubio, once a staunch Russia hawk, now acknowledges that strengthening US-Russia ties is preferable to allowing Moscow to become a permanent junior partner to Beijing. Others interpret Trump's Russia outreach as part of a broader shift in US foreign policy towards offshore balancing rather than striving for American dominance in global affairs. This approach recognizes the world's return to its natural multipolar state. Notably, Rubio is the first senior US leader to explicitly describe the unipolar post-Cold War era as an anomaly, one that, in, one that is now fading. From Russia's perspective, Trump's presidency presents both an opportunity and a risk. The Kremlin sees a rare chance to reshape US Russia relations but remains wary of the unpredictability of American domestic politics. Moscow understands that any progress made under Trump could be undone by future administration, thus the Kremlin is cautiously exploring the new possibilities with some. Meanwhile, improving relations with Washington does not mean Moscow will sever ties with Beijing. On the contrary, a renewed American opening would strengthen Putin's bargaining position in his dealing with China. For Russia, maintaining balanced relations with both America and China will be the enduring objective. Trump's Trump's call for reducing nuclear arsenals have also been welcomed in Moscow, given Russia's long-standing preference for arms control agreements with Washington. However, the real prize for Putin lies in economic realm. The war in Ukraine, initially envisioned as a short operation, has dragged into its fourth year, straining Russia's economy. Lifting US sanctions would provide a crucial boost, and Putin has already signaled his willingness to welcome American investment in critical mineral resources and other sectors. Still, skepticism persists on both sides. In Moscow, some fear that Trump's overtures are a trap designed to isolate Russia from its traditional non-Western allies. Others see Washington's newfound appreciation for Brishov as a potential ally to elevate an alternative figure in Russian politics. Yet, despite these doubts, the potential benefits of ending international isolation, securing economic relief, restoring cultural recognition, and regaining the seat at the high table are of great appeal to Russia. Trump's presidency, whether it leads to a lasting shift or a temporary reprieve, undoubtedly opens a door that Moscow is eager to step through. For India, American intent would create more geopolitical space to operate in, but it would also demand a strategic agility unburdened by any presumptions about relations between the US, Russia, and China. The writer is contributing editor on international affairs for the Indian Express. Thank you, all brothers and sisters. Today you are providing your most valuable time. All of you are the listeners, so listener always play the role of a judges. Really, it's a matter of pleasure that we are interacting, we are expressing ourselves in front of you by the God gifted. Why resignation came to be the only option for Dhananjay Munde Mahayuti from Mumbai after fending off allegations around a Sarpanch. Why resignation came to be the only option for Dhananjay Munde Mahayuti after fending all allegations around the murder of a Sarpanch in bid and demands for his resignation for 3 months. NCP Food and Civil Supplies Minister Dhananjay Munde finally stepped down on Tuesday. The resignation came a day after the first budget session of the new Mahayuti government elected in November 2024 began Monday. The desire of Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis to start on a fresh note was one of the reasons behind Munde relenting on demands for his dismissal. There are others. Supreme Court says right against disability based bias should be seen as fundamental rights. Visually impaired person cannot be denied opportunity to join judicial services, court tells Madhya Pradesh. From New Delhi, the Supreme Court on Monday said the time has come to consider the right against disability based discrimination a fundamental right as it's ruled that visually impaired candidates are eligible to participate in selection for the post under the judicial service. It is high time that we view the right against disability based discrimination as recognized in the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 of the same stature as a fundamental right, thereby ensuring that no candidate is denied consideration solely on account of their disability. A bench of Justice J.B. Pardiwala and R. Mahadevan said the court was deciding a clutch of petitions dealing with certain provisions of the Madhya Pradesh Judicial Service Examination, Recruitment, Set Conditions of Service Rules 1994 and seeking amendments to the Rajasthan Judicial Service Rules 2010 to bring them in accordance with the RPWD Act. The judgment directed the respective authorities to proceed with the selection process for appointment of the judicial officers in the light of this decision and complete the same as expeditiously as special possible, preferably within a period of 3 months from today. Writing for the bench, Justice Mahadevan cited the case of exemplary achievements of distinguished individuals in the legal profession who have demonstrated that visual impairments no barrier to attaining professional excellence, competing on equal footing and making significant contributions to the justice delivery system alongside their able-bodied counterparts. The court said the overall analysis would demonstrate that a rights-based approach necessitates that PWDs must not face any discrimination in their pursuit of judicial service opportunities and instead There must be affirmative action on behalf of the state to provide an inclusive framework. The principle of reasonable accommodation, as enshrined in international convention, established jurisprudence, and the RPWD Act 2016 mandates that accommodations be provided to PWDs as a prerequisite to assessing their eligibility. The bench shared, adding that any indirect discrimination that results in the exclusion of PWDs, the bench shared the amendment made in Rule 6A of the MP Rules 1994 falls foul of the Constitution and is hence struck down to the extent that it does not include visually impaired persons who are educationally qualified for the post to apply. Therefore, the Supreme Court also struck down the proviso to Rule 7 of the MP Rules relating to additional requirements in its application to differently abled persons who have the requisite educational qualifications for applying to the post under judicial service, saying it violates the equality doctrine and the principle of reasonable accommodation. The provision prescribed an additional requirement of either a 3-year practice period or an aggregate score of 70% in the first attempt. The court, however, added that relaxation can be done in assessing the sustainability of candidate when enough PWDs are not available after selection in their respective categories. The Supreme Court said the rule will be applicable to the PWD's candidates insofar as it describes the educational and other qualifications as eligibility criteria, including the minimum aggregate score of 70% with relaxation as may be determined like in case of Supreme Court or ST scheduled tribes or scheduled caste candidates, but without the requirements of either that it should be in the first attempt or that they should have 3 years practice. The ruling also allowed the prayer that a separate cutoff should be maintained and selection made accordingly for visually impaired candidates. A third of India will be obese by 2050, says Lancet study. From New Delhi, the obesity epidemic just got bigger with a recently published Lancet study predicting that 21.8 crore men and 23.1 crore women in India will be overweight or obese, totaling up to 44.9 crore or nearly a third of the country's projected population by 2050. Globally, more than half of all adults and a third of children and adolescents will become overweight or obese by 2050, the study says. Worryingly, prevalence of obesity will shoot up among older adolescents or those between the ages of 15 and 24. Among the young men, the prevalence of overweight or obesity increased from 0.4 crore in 1990 and to 1.68 crore in 2021 and is projected to increase to 12.27 crores by 2050. Among young women, this number has increased from 0.33 crore in 1990, 1.3 crore in 2021, and is projected to go up to 1.69 crore in 2050. India topped the chart in this category in terms of absolute numbers in 2021, surpassing China and the US, who were ahead in 1990. Why numbers matter? This projected increase is concerning considering that half of the world's obese and overweight adults lived in 8 countries, including India in 2021. The study says that increasing prevalence of obesity is low in low and middle income countries, combined with persistent childhood malnutrition and pervasive infectious disease, can cripple healthcare systems. With an added burden of disease, the study goes on to say that childhood Undernutrition also triggers adaptations such as accumulation of energy in fat tissues, leading to obesity in adulthood. This increases the risk of early onset of a host of lifestyle disorders such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. The flip side is the increasing obesity among children as well. The prevalence of obesity and overweight among boys in India increased from 0.46 crore in 1990 to 1.6 crore in 2021 and is projected to increase to 1.6 crore in 2050. Among girls, it has increased from 0.45 crore in 1990 to 1.24 crore in 2021 and projected to increase to 1.44 crore in 2050 according to study. Why is why is obesity increasing? One of the key reasons driving the obesity epidemic is the increase in consumption of processed foods high in salt, sugar, and fat. Multinational food and beverage corporations and fast food chains are shifting their investments from high income countries to low and middle income countries where population growth, improvement in per capita income, and weaker regulations have created favorable market for expansion between 2009 and 2019. The largest annual growth in ultra processed food and beverage sales per capita was observed in Cameroon, India, and Vietnam, the study said. Dr. Arpana Govil Bhaskar, who leads the Scientific Committee for Obesity and Metabolic Surgery Society of India, says increasing urbanization has led to reduced physical activity, longer commute times, the desk bound jobs, a shift towards calorie dense processed foods high in refined carbohydrates, trans fats, and sugars has significantly contributed to weight gain. Rising work related stress, poor sleep, and mental health disorders have been linked to obesity. What can be done? The study says that current policies are unlikely to halt the rise of the obesity epidemic because only 40% of the countries had an operational policy, strategy, or action plan to address it. This policy coverage was reduced to just 10% in low and middle income countries, according to the study. The study also added that most interventions to address obesity had been studied in high income setting and there is a need for evidence on effective obesity interventions from low income settings as well. Obesity must be officially recognized as a major non-communicable disease and its intervention and management should be integrated into India's public health policies. A comprehensive national obesity program should include awareness campaigns, school-based intervention, workplace wellness programs, access to treatment, taxation on unhealthy foods, and so on. Establishing a national registry to track obesity trends, outcomes, and interventions is important, says Dr. Bhaskar. The mask is off. The mask is off. White House drama was not about Zelensky, Russia, Western hypocrisy, but about legitimizing imperialism, nuclear proliferation. The only possible conclusion to be drawn from the needless humiliation of Ukraine is this: it is now clear that imperialism, the outright claiming of whole countries without cause, is being re-established as a norm in its international relations. It was a remarkable feature of the post-1945 order that wars for full territorial conquest had significantly disappeared. Trump was not slapping Ukraine, he was legitimizing imperialism. This is going to have serious consequences. I must confess that as the video of the now famous Vladimir Zelensky, JD, wants Donald Trump. Confrontation played out in public with Trump accusing the Ukrainian president of risking World War III. The image that flashed in my mind was that of King Jong Un. Trump traveled all the way to Singapore in his first term to meet him, hoping to cut a deal. North Korea would reduce its stockpile of fissile material in exchange for lifting of economic sanctions. The deal fell through because apparently the US would not offer sanctions relief commensurate with the cuts being demanded in North Korea's stockpile, but at least North Korea was treated with respect in its nuclear stockpile it had. To use Trump's favorite term, leverage, the fiasco over Ukraine is of momentous significance, but it is not captured by the theatrics of world leaders being required to give public obeisance to the court of Trump. It is not captured in debates over the whether Zelensky overplayed his hand or was set up by the Trump administration or both. Zelensky could have arguably been more stoic, but fundamentally the United States came across the classic bully. Shut up high and kick those below. The world would love to see Trump try this with Vladimir Putin or Jinping, or even Mohammed bin Salman or Kim Jong Un. Nor is it captured by the potential fracturing of the Western alliance, with Europe and America irrevocably now grow apart, marking the end of Atlanticism. At least on Ukraine, this conclusion is premature. The European peace plan is not radically different from Trump's. Trump might still wreck whatever remains of NATO, but even that would only be a shifting of military priorities. The grotesque spectacles of an inverted narrative where the victim Ukraine is blamed for its own condition did not capture the significance either. Even if the US was duplicating the second time since World War that one country had claimed an entire other country. This was not a war over a territorial dispute or even regime change. It was a war to erase a country that Putin did not succeed in his own should not blind us to this fact. Ukraine's tragedy lies in the fact that seeing it simply through the framework of competing US and Russia hegemonic ambitions made it doubly invisible. Now that Russian and American imperial ambitions are temporarily coinciding, one would have thought that it would be reason for anti-imperialists of all stripes to at least recognize the injustice being meted out to Ukraine. But once again, Ukraine has become about Trump or Putin. Trump was in principle right that the war over Ukraine would require at some point a negotiated settlement, so he presumptuously seemed to arrogate to himself if the authority of what a half just settlement should look like. There is truth to the claim that Ukraine would have to accept some compromise. It was in the interest of the US to force peace or back out, but Trump's retelling of the history of what happened to Ukraine has a far deeper significance. The significance is that the Ukraine episode may prove to be the single biggest impetus to the nuclearization of the world in recent memory. Ukraine gave up what was one of the largest stockpiles of nuclear weapons in 1994, Those who fret about the threat of NATO expansion towards Russia forget that the act by Ukraine was premised to security guarantee by the international community, including the West and Russia in 1994. It would have been reputationally and economically expensive for Ukraine to hold on to its nuclear arsenal, but the fact that the invasion of Ukraine happened at all was a profound failure not of Ukraine as some suggest, but of the international community which failed to uphold its security guarantees to a country that had willingly given up its nuclear arsenal. The only possible conclusion to be drawn from the needless humiliation of Ukraine is this: it is now clear that imperialism, the outright claiming of all countries without cause, is being re-stabilized as a norm in international relations. It was remarkable feature of the post 1945 order that was for full territorial conquest had significantly disappeared in the book the international Ona Hathaway and Scott Shapiro had documented more than 150 territorial wars in the century preceding 1945. This number was down to a handful. Trump was not slapping Ukraine. He was legitimizing imperialism. This is going to have serious consequences. The relative stability of the global order depended upon a delicate nuclear equilibrium with a number of pillars. The first was the stability of the deterrent effects of the principal dietas among nuclear advertisers, especially the US and Russia. The second was despite the nuclearization of Israel, Pakistan, and India, the relatively small number of nuclear states. This was in part premised on various security guarantees given by the great power to their allies or client states. However, it was achieved the small number of nuclear states made stability easier to achieve. The norm against territorial territorial imperialism helped. There was also something of a norm, even if imperfectly realized, against contemplating the use of nuclear weapons. The message from the Ukraine fiasco is that it would be foolish for any small to mid-sized country with security challenges to give up its nuclear ambitions if it is to unsuspect. In an era of new nuclear technologies, will the world be safer if there are a lot more nuclear weapon states? Tariff and turmoil. Tariff and turmoil. What should India do? The one thing it definitely must not do it become inward looking. The tariffs that US President Donald Trump announced early last month, 10% on Chinese and 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods, have led to full-blown trade war. China has hit back with 15% duty on wheat, corn, cotton, and chicken, and 10% on soybean, pork, beef, fruit, vegetable, and dairy products from the US. These tariffs coming even as the Trump administration has imposed an additional 10% levy on Chinese goods are significant. China is the largest market for US soybean and cotton, and also a big buyer of its beef, dairy, pork, and poultry meat. If these agricultural products from the US now turn more expensive and China importers switch to alternative suppliers such as Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay, in soybean, the loser would be the American farmer. Trump incidentally won almost 78% of the popular vote in the USA's most farming dependent countries during 2024 presidential elections, but the trade wars are not limited to China or Canada and Mexico. The blanket 25% tariffs on the latter two countries' goods took effect on Tuesday, with Canada to retaliating with duties on some $155 billion worth of the US imports. Trump has also announced worldwide tariffs of 25% on steel and aluminum to take effect from March 12. On top of these are his proposed reciprocal tariffs, which translates into the US charging the same duty on imports that the exporting countries levy on goods from America. That will affect virtually every country with which the US trades both as a good importers. 3.3 trillion in 2024, $3.3 trillion in 2024, and exporter $2.1 trillion. As the US increasingly cuts itself from imports, the result would be higher inflation, forcing the Federal Reserve to hike interest rates, which will in turn lead to further capital outflows from emerging market countries such as India. In short, this is a massive global disruption unfolding. What should India do? Now, one thing it definitely must not do is becoming inward looking. This is a time when India established itself as a reliable global trade partner. Not only should its exporters be encouraged to explore new markets, it must also open itself more to competition from imports, including of farm produce, cutting duties on almonds, walnuts, even corn and whiskey from the US isn't going to excessively harm Indian producers. If anything, poultry and dairy farmers will benefit from imports of a primary feed ingredient. India's seafood and basmati rice exporters, on the other hand, would lose heavily if the US were to impose retaliatory tariffs on these products. India shouldn't be afraid to negotiate on trade and tariffs with the Trump administration. Terms of coexistence. A center to manage human animal conflict will address a long overdue need. Science should be cornerstone of this initiative. At a meeting of a National Board for Wildlife on Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged a difficult challenge and announced a solution. The PM, Bird's ex officio chairperson, spoke of setting up a center. Centrex and expansion of farmlands have led to the fragmentation of animals' habitats, forcing tigers, lions, leopards, rhinos, and elephants to venture out of national parks and sanctuaries. At the same time, some of the country protected areas are finding it difficult to satisfy the needs of animals for food, water, and mates. However, carrying capacity remains a poorly understood concept in wildlife policy. The success of conservation initiatives continues to be measured in terms of increasing the population of the endangered animals This approach has no doubt brought several animals back from the brink of extinction. Now, the country's wildlife policy needs to address the follow up question: what to do when animals compete with humans for space and natural resources. The proposal to set up a center for managing human wildlife conflict is therefore timely. The NBW has approved rupees 2900 crore for conservation works under Project Lion. The animals conservation arc is a good indicator of what is right and wrong with the country's wildlife policy. In the early years of 20th century, the animals' numbers had dwindled to less than 20, largely in the area that is today designated or designed as the Gir National Park. That the last lion census 2020 is held tallied more than 670 of these majestic animals is a tribute to the efforts of scientists and forest officials of the PAAS. PM Modi rightly observed the participation of local communities, especially the Maldhari pastoralists, played a major role in the conservation success. But the census also carried a worrying factoid: more than 300 of Gir's official lion population lives outside the PA's boundaries. Experts believe that the prey base at the park cannot sustain the increasing number of lions, who then attack livestock in nearby villages. Lions are increasingly spotted in villages, roads, even beaches. However, even as the big cats have come into conflict with humans, been run over by trains or claimed by disease, the Gujarat government has resisted translocating some of them out of the state. At Monday's NWB meeting, PM Modi reportedly stressed the use of technologies like AI to deal with forest fires and human wildlife conflict. It's important that science, not regional or state pride, remains the cornerstone of conservation and in resolving some of its most difficult challenges. Plate like Vidarbha, the arid central Indian plain is now a fertile ground for Indian cricket. At the core of Indian domestic cricket is the geographical center of the country. The arid and famine-ridden Vidarbha minnows for most of their existence in the Ranji Trophy circuit. Their Kamupans can no longer be termed a fairy tale. Their third title in 7 years emphasizes their stature as a domestic powerhouse. Their unbeaten march to the title, outrightly winning 8 of the 10 games. The BSP's silver lining: Mayawati had a besieged party, but the picture seems different from below. 2 million of these supporters in general and the workers and cadres in particular, Mayawati remains the most relatable and familiar face, as well as a symbol of the resilient discourse of assertive Dalit identity. Her dwindling leadership notwithstanding, to them leaders like Azad do not represent the institutional sense of Dalit discourse that Kanshiram advocated. Anand and others are saplings that need nurturing under Mayawati before they can stake a claim to the structural readjustment to the party. The Bahujan Samaj Party (BSP) and its leaders Mayawati signify the one's ascendant Dalit discourse that has been in terminal electoral decline since 2014. In Uttar Pradesh, of all the reasons cited for the BSP's dipping fortunes, Mayawati autocratic leadership style and refusal to declare a worthy successor are perceived as two prime determinants. However, once we analyze the BSP question from the party workers' perspective, the picture changes diametrically. Their faith in Mayawati remains constant. This emerges most starkly in the backdrop of the predicament of Akash Anand inside the party. Being the nephew of Mayawati, Anand 30 has been perceived as her potential successor at a time when the core support base of the party faces a formidable challenge from another young and dynamic leaders. Chandrasekhar Azad Anand was declared the national coordinator of the BSP after the 2019 Lok Sabha election in December 2023. Mayawati formally announced him as her heir. An MBA graduate from the UK, Anand heralded a new phase of political inside the BSP by appearing to be more relatable to Dalit youths who want the party to shift from the certainty of self-respect of the politics of aspiration. He has been vocal, speak extempore is at ease in both English and Hindi, and brought new elements like the pediatra to the party. Hence, the new year wasn't just more relatable to general Dalits. He also sought to structurally readjust party. However, in the midst of the 24 Lok Sabha election, he was suddenly divested of his party position only to be reinstated before the Haryana and Maharashtra Assembly election, a position again taken away on Sunday, followed by his expulsion on Monday. The chain of events throws up an analytical puzzle that's not just about deciphering Anand's tumultuous equations with Mayawati, but also understanding the psychology of BSP's core when the party faces an existential crisis. Anand was removed as he, along with his father-in-law Ashok Siddharth and wife Pragya Siddharth, were allegedly trying to capture the party. They were seen to be people in a hurry and therefore had to pay the price. On the other hand, on the other side, critics of Mayawati say the rise of popular leader in the party causes her insecurity and that Anand's bold initiatives and functioning style triggered an anxiety. Many insiders say she has been following this template since the early 90s and that therefore one should not be surprised. However, too much reliance on the personal psychology of the leader may not present a bottom up picture from the vantage point of core voters, particularly of party whose future is a matter of deep concern among supporters. It is testimony to the resilience of the BSP that in spite of being written off in 2024 Lok Sabha election in Uttar Pradesh, the party secured more than 80 lakh votes, which overwhelmingly came from the caste, the Jat, the Jatwas and the Ravidasis. The voters have an emotional connect to the party, which rose through the 1980s and tumultuous 1990s and captured the power in the Hindi heartland in 2007 on its own besides emerging as a national party. To them, Banerjees is the last living connection to this remarkable journey, without whose persona Kansi Ram's BSP wouldn't have had the political success it did. These voters mirror the psychology of subalterns who seek the presence of a strong leader even in the difficult times the BSP is facing. To millions of these supporters in general and the workers and cadres in particular, Mayawati remains the most reliable and familiar face as well as symbol of the resilient discourse of assertive Dalit identity, her dwindled leadership notwithstanding. To them, leaders like Azad do not represent the institutional sense of Dalit discourse that Kansiram advocated. Similarly, Anand and others are saplings that need long term nurturing under Mayavati before they can stake a claim to the structural readjustments of the party. Nominatively, in the difficult phase, the party and the BSP leadership must be guided by the sensibilities of the core. Hence, there is a strong possibility that by removing her declared political here, Mayavati has reached out to the rank and filed with the message that every worker has a fair claim to the party. This way, she may have emerged stronger among her core supporters. The writer is a fellow at the Prime Minister Museum and Library. He is director of Prashish, a Dalit-based research institution specializing in fieldwork-based study of Indian politics. All my dear, respected, honorable, adorable personalities, those who are attending this program, listening carefully, really are praiseworthy, admirable, and appreciable because they are providing their most valuable time in listening what is happening in the world and how do we listen, how do we speak, how do we think. It is the most important thing today. Really, word has a great power, but thinking or thoughts are more important than our words. Like it is said in all the holy religions of our holy land, action is action speaks louder than words. It is rightly said by our all starters, beginners, and initiators of our holy land, all the freedom fighters, free thinkers, those who came in India, they were very nationalistic and patriotistic by their devotion and dedication for this country, and they devoted themselves for the welfare of our society and others. It is written, it is said in all our holy scriptures of our holy land. All the starters like Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, who born in 1469, and India was discovered by Vasco da Gama in 1498. As we read in the schools, colleges, universities, that Raja Ram Mohan Rai, who started Brahm Samaj, Dhyanand Saraswati, who started Arya Samaj, Swami Vivekananda, who started Ram Kishan Mission, because they were filled with the humanitarian spirit. So, humanity is the common concept. Humanity means to share our food, sorrows, our shelters, our thoughts, ideas, emotionally, particularly, intellectually, and spiritually. Thank you, all of you.